Hello everyone and welcome to Story Time with Mr. Ryan. As part of Black History Month and as part of my Great People series, today I thought I would read for you a story about a very important, pioneering African-American basketball coach who had some pretty amazing ideas. Amazing ideas which changed America and which changed the game of basketball for the better. Today's story is Game Changer, John McLendon and the Secret Game by John Coy with illustrations by Randy DeBurke. Let's hop on in, shall we? Who are you? What are you? Why are you here on this earth? Where are you going? Coach John McLendon's 4 questions for his players. On Sunday, March 12, 1944, at 11 in the morning, when most people were still at church, a group of basketball players who thought they were the best in the state of North Carolina piled into 2 cars. The members of the Duke University Medical School team knew they were playing a game, but they didn't all know where they were going or who their opponent would be. The drivers wound around the deserted streets of downtown Durham to make sure nobody was following them. Before they crossed over to the other side of town, the players covered the windows with quilts so they wouldn't be seen. When the cars stopped, the players pulled their coats over their heads and walked through the women's locker room into a gymnasium. Before them stood a timekeeper, 2 referees, and the starting 5 of the North Carolina College of Negroes. The Eagles, under their young coach John McLendon, had 19 wins and 1 loss. But because of segregation, they were prohibited from playing against white teams. On this day, the Eagles were going to break that prohibition. Coach McLendon, who'd learned basketball from James Naismith, the game's founder, stood to the side with his wife Alice and their 2 children. McLendon believed basketball could change people's prejudices, and he wanted his children present to see just a change. The 2 teams warmed up at opposite ends of the locked gymnasium. Players glanced down to size one another up and then turned away. Eventually, there was nothing left to do but play ball. The game started slowly, with dropped passes and shots clanging off the rim. Players on both sides, some of whom had never been this close to a person of a different color, were hesitant to touch or bump into one another. The Duke team of Jack Burgess, Dick Simmons, Homer Sieber, Dave Hubble, and Dick Thistlethwaite took the lead. They had all played college ball and were strong and experienced. They ran their 3-man weave, executed give and goes, and launched set shots. This was the game as most people knew it, basketball of the present. The young Eagles gradually settled into their game, though. They applied the pressure defense they'd learned from Coach McLendon. George Parks and Henry Big Dog Thomas grabbed rebounds and fired outless passes to Aubrey Stanley, Floyd Cootie Brown, and James Boogie Woogie Hardy. They raced up and down the floor in McLendon's innovative fast break style that emphasized attacking the basket. This was basketball the white players had never seen. The Duke players breathed hard and grabbed their shorts. They'd never imagined the game at this pace. As they gasped for breath, the Eagles, who were in excellent condition because of McLendon's drills, made basket after basket. The Duke players were witnessing something new basketball of the future. When the game ended, the players were shocked by the score. The Duke team had scored 44 points, which was near its average. The Eagles, though, had 88, doubling Duke's score. It was a stunning display of basketball. There was no question about which team was the best. They beat us real good. They beat us real sharp, Jack Burgess said. What happened next was even more remarkable. The two teams played another game, but this time, black and white players played together to even up the sides in a game of shirts and skins. Meanwhile, word spread around campus that something was happening at the gym. Students climbed up on window ledges and pressed against the glass to see a sight they'd never seen. 19 years before Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech and 3 years before Jackie Robinson broke the color line in Major League Baseball, black players and white players worked together as teammates in an illegal game in segregated North Carolina. George Parks of the Eagles said later that this game was, quote, just God's children horsing around with a basketball. Afterward, the Eagles players invited the Duke players back to their dormitory. They sat around and talked about the game and everything else, the way basketball players do. When it was time for the Duke players to go, everybody agreed on a plan. They pledged they would keep the game secret to protect one another and Coach McLendon, who would have been fired or much worse if people found out. A reporter for the Carolina Times, Durham's black weekly newspaper, heard about the game, but he agreed not to publish the story at McLendon's request, since the Ku Klux Klan, or KKK, was active and considered race mixing a crime punishable by death. Jack Burgess did write a letter to his family in Montana. We played basketball against a Negro college team. We sure had fun, and I especially had a good time, for most of the fellas playing with me were Southerners, and when the evening was over, most of them had changed their views quite a lot. These players had seen the future, but it would take time for everybody else to see it too. 22 years later, in 1966, Texas Western started 5 black players against a heavily favored all-white team from Kentucky for the national championship. Texas Western triumphed, and when they did, news spread around the country. The era of segregated big-time college basketball was ending. Years later, John McLendon, who was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame for his pioneering coaching career, said, I just wanted to further the idea that we all played basketball, that we all played it well, and that we should be playing it together. Today, people don't think twice about players of different skin colors competing with one another on the court. But it wasn't always that way. It took courage to make that future a reality. Coach John McLendon and those brave players who rose to the challenge in the secret game were years ahead of their time. Well, thank you all very much for joining me for this story. I hope this story inspires you to overcome your prejudices and be good to one another, to everyone, no matter their skin color. Thank you all very much. I hope you guys enjoyed reading this story with me. I hope you guys enjoy my Black History Month Great People series. It's been going well. I hope you guys are staying warm, having fun, and doing well out there. Please feel free to check out my other stories on this channel, or if you're looking for fun activities you can do from home, go ahead and visit veronalibrary.org/children. Until next time, I'll be seeing you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.